between the time you started that SuperSlam and you finished it, how many bows did you go through? Because obviously you started pretty young, but you also finished pretty young.
Yeah, I started the first animal I actually counted towards the SuperSlam was my first whitetail with a bow. I killed some deer with a crossbow before that, but my first whitetail with a bow was when I was 10 years old. And then my first traveling hunt I went on, I was 11. And then I finished the SuperSlam harvesting my final animal, which was the polar bear on the SuperSlam at age 20. And so during that 10-year period, I would say I went through I'd say I went through between 20 and 25 bows.
Oh wow.
And so I usually had a backup that I would take. I had a double bow case, and so I'd usually on these big traveling hunts where you're going out into the middle of nowhere. I mean, archery equipment is so much less reliable. Like if you're looking at it, if you're somebody who thinks of everything super logically and just all you can think of is the practicality and the reliability of something, you're not going to be a bow hunter because, I mean, a single cut or snap string could end your entire hunt. And honestly, out there, you don't. I mean, if you break a string off a bow or something like that, where you have to tune that bow to get it back working, I mean, you don't have the resources you really need out there. I mean, you could bring in kind of an emergency kit, which I did, but I would bring a whole setup backup bow on the really remote hunts because if if something really goes wrong, you don't have the time or the resources to put something brand new together and still finish out the hunt the way you need to. So,
well, tell us right now what your bow makeup is for hunting. What are you going out with this year?
well, I've got the newest of the new Matthews. I've been a Matthews guy my entire time on the SuperSlam, and I really really believe in what Matthews stands for, and so I've got my lift, and I love that bow. I really really love that bow. It's very quiet, very very dead in the hand. I mean, Matthews just keeps setting the bar higher with what they're able to do with lack of hand shock while also making the bow lighter, and so those are the two things that I really look for in a bow. At one point, I'd gone with a really short brace height bow in order to pick up speed because I was pulling lower poundage. And after that, I decided I wanted to go with smoothness and lack of hand shock a lot more than I did with speed. And so I really appreciate what Matthews is doing there with continuing to go down that road. So that's the bow setup I'm shooting. I shoot the new Ultra Rest, the Micro Ultra Rest, and then I shoot the Matthews, their new removable quiver. I shot the Matthews non-removable quiver for a long time because I loved how secure those arrows were in it. And so I shot that for a long time, even though I couldn't take it off my bow. I just honestly found that backcountry hunting, I wasn't taking my quiver off my bow near as much as you may think. And so I didn't need the removable quiver, but now this new removable quiver that they designed fits on the bow and holds the arrows just as secure as the old non-removable one. So that's what I run now, and I love it. And then arrows, I shoot Easton Axis long range, the .001 diameter or straightness, not diameter, 4mm diameter. And I love those arrows. I've been an Easton guy all along as well. Love Easton arrows. I still shoot deep six components, even though a lot of people, have moved away from the deep six components. I love them because I think I find their tunability a little bit better, and I find their durability a lot better in micro diameter shafts. And so that's what I run. And then iron will broadheads is kind of what I've been on for a long time. So that's kind of the setup I'm rocking with this year and have been for a while now.
What's your sight?
Oh yeah, I left that one out. I've got the Excel landslide, so love that sight. Love it. I've also been, I've been a spot hog guy in the past, and I've been Excel, and I shot CBE back when CBE was offering something that really worked for me. I shot I think it was the CBE Sniper Pro back when I was shooting a sight that was hard mounted on the bow. But now that I'm shooting a different style of sight, I've moved on to the Excel, and I love that sight. I love the adjustability of it. The pins aren't quite as durable as my old spot hog pins. That's the only complaint I have about it, but I love everything else about that sight. I really, 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 really love that sight. So,
what are you comfortable shooting out to with your broadheads and a live animal?
I would say it really depends. I always tell guides when they ask me that question, because I like to make guides think they got to get me real close, because I love close shots as much as anything. It doesn't matter how good I'm shooting and how confident I'm feeling. I love close encounters and close shots. But I tell people 60 yards on a first shot, out to 70 if I'm feeling really, really good. And then on a follow-up, I mean, I'll smoke one out to 100 if I need to. Follow-up, all bets are off for me. So I'm plugging arrows away as quick as I can if I've already got an arrow in that animal. And that's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. You can't be selective about follow-up shots unless you think unless you're very, very confident the animal's going to sit there and die in front of you. Get as many arrows in them as you can, and even if that means making a miss, sometimes you got to do it. So